Hey yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Dadscap. Welcome to Market Pulse, your weekly deep dive into the CS2 economy. But before we jump into the numbers, I've got a huge announcement for you guys. I just dropped SkinScanner, which is a free browser extension that makes hunting for CS2 skins so easy it feels like cheating. Here's the deal, type in the skin that you want or the knife or whatever you're looking for, set your filters, pick your markets, and boom, new tabs open with your results. It's free, ultra fast and simple, and it's available for both Chrome and Firefox web browsers. Grab it now, links are in the description, and now let's get back to the market recap. Today's peak player count has been abnormally low compared to the rest of the week, a 10% decrease compared to the week's average. Also, this week's peak average is lower than last week's by almost 50,000 players, and with the summer fast approaching, we can only expect this number to continue trending down. The market cap continues its climb by breaking another all-time high, going up by 1.82% and inching ever closer to the $4.7 billion mark. Will we reach it? Share your thoughts in the comments. The Tier 1 index, aka the liquid index, has seen phenomenal growth this week. 4.11% is massive compared to last week's tamer numbers, meaning that the broader market of players and casual traders, not just speculators, is up big this week. The same can be said with the low tier index, which has also been on the rise, growing by 4.35%, slightly surpassing the liquid index and more than doubling the market cap in its rate of growth. The mid-tier index, while still surpassing the market cap in its percentage increase, is still relatively underperforming when compared with the low-tier index and the liquid index. A sharp divergence from the last few weeks' trend when mid-tiers were outperforming the rest of the market. The high-tier index is on a massive roll, delivering just over 7% of growth over the past week, continuing the uptrend we've been observing over the last month. As for the knives and gloves index, we can see gloves slightly underperforming compared to knives, with the former increasing by close to 2% on average and the latter almost reaching 3%. The gloves market seems to be finally cooling off, leaving speculators hanging to hold the bag. RIP to them. As for the extra cosmetics, nothing too special this week. Agents are slightly down by a half percentage point, and charms are a little up by 1%. Seems like normal market fluctuations. Moving to cases index, and no, this isn't a mistake, every single case category in the game is up big this week, ranging from over 30% for 2020-2022 cases to only 5% to pre-2016 cases. Life is good for cases investors who've profited massively from Buff's decision to reintroduce the buying and selling of cases on the market. With cases now available on the largest CS2 marketplace, the future looks good for investors. The market pulse this week is going super Saiyan. I've tried measuring the temperature, but my thermometer keeps breaking, and so we'll have to wait and see until things settle down before trying to guess how close to the top we really are. Welcome to Case Crackdown, where we break down the happenings in the case market over the past week, and this week, 8.25 million cases were opened, an increase of just over 200k compared to last week's, of which 44% were active cases, 40% were purchasable, 15% were rare, and only 0.5% were discontinued. The number one purchasable case was once again the Fever case, with 2.6 million of them being opened, again an increase of 7% its weekly average and 2% from Friday last week. The number one active case was the Revolution case, which hasn't recovered from the drop in its openings number since the release of the Fever case, dropping once again this week by 1% in its weekly average and almost 3% from 7 days ago. The number one rare case was the Snakebite case, which seems to have the greater demand, with just over 150k getting opened, an increase of 9% in its weekly average and 16% from last Friday. The most liquid case was the Fracture case, and as you may or may not be aware, is my favorite case. I call it the GOAT mainly due to the fact that nobody, not even gamblers, want it, and at least one person has to show it love. The case with the most potential was the Wildfire case, which benefited massively from the surge caused by Buff's reintroduction of cases on their platform, with the skins culture in China seeming to favor bigger and bulkier knives. For example, the Bowie knife. It's not surprising to see this case surge in price. The biggest crash out came from the Fever case, which saw its price decline by a massive single cent.
Really, Nick?
Yeah, the whole market is up, so no wonder this is our crash out. And as for Dadscap's pick of the week, and honestly I don't have any, because there's no point trying to predict what's going to happen after such a spike. Now would be the perfect time to start short selling cases, but hey, that's not really possible. But if I were to low-key pick a case anyway, I'd probably say the Fracture case just because no one wants it. But this is not my typical certified financial advice, as anybody that touches the Fracture case is guaranteed to lose money. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, and obviously don't forget to like, subscribe, and destroy that nasty ass bell if you're not a little bitch. welcome to winners and losers, starting off with cases, which, as you can see, the top 3 went up by over 30% in a single week. As mentioned in market polls, this is related to Buff's announcement, and there isn't really anything else to say about it apart from the fact that the Broken Fang case line is funny to look at. As for the losers, if we can call them that, well, apart from the fever and recall case being active cases and all, it's normal to see them there. It's interesting to see how sadly the shadow case performed this week, indicating close to no extra demand for shadow daggers in China, which makes sense due to the sussiness of their design. Moving on to play skins, we can see the M41S Vaporwave sitting at the top, closely followed by the Op Chrome Cannon from the Kilowatt case, and far behind is the M41S Chentico Fire acting as the third wheel. For the losers, well, there's mainly one skin, the Op Prince Stream, with its minimal wear and field tested variations taking the top 2 spots, declining by a combined 27% this week. I don't expect this skin to move in another trajectory until the fever cases unboxing numbers start going down as well. Next are the winner knives, which don't indicate any particular pattern apart from general principles about the market. Knives with cool animations are cool, vanilla knives are more in demand than one might think, and Doppler phasers, well shit, who wouldn't want a Doppler phase? Moving on to the losers, and well, you can forget what I just said about Doppler phasers since apparently no one wants the survival rubies apparently. I'm only half kidding, but as you can see on the chart, these knives are going through a price correction this week after a recent sharp spike. So despite the large percentages, this is just normal market behavior. And finally, for the winter's gloves, we can see that sport gloves have been on fire, taking all 3 spots this week, with sitting at the top the Arid skin, followed by the GOAT, not ironic this time, the Pandora's box, and followed by the all-black Nocts. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. The first 2 can be explained by the fact that these can only be found in the super rare expensive gloves and Hydra cases, but this last one can still be found in the very cheap recall case, so I expect a correction coming for this one. And as for the losers, well, these are most likely the reason why the mid-tier index underperformed so much this week. Market mania around gloves made these ones go up significantly in price, which was moronic since these can be found in currently active cases like the recall and revolution. With supply increasing and a short-term spike in demand now past, things aren't looking good for people who thought they could make a quick buck by flipping them. Again, RIP. Welcome to ROI Radar, where we're looking for money predator hidden in the armory or the in-game store, starting off with the Feral Predators capsule, which has an odds of profit of 27%, an unboxing ROI of 94%, and an expected value of 94 cents, so a 6 cents loss. The best item is the Toxic Foil at $4.56. Next up is the Boardroom capsule, which has an odds of profit of 21%, an unboxing ROI of 94%, and an expected value of 94%, a 6 cents loss, and exactly the same stats as the Feral Predators. The best item is not the Infinite Diamond Hollow, it's the V for Victory Hollow at $7.03. Wow. In the best capsule in the in-game store is the Team Rules capsule with an odds of profit of 28%, an unboxing ROI of 96%, and an expected value of 96 cents, so a 4 cents loss. The best item is the Pro Foil at $5.10. Moving on to the armory, the third best collection is the Sport and Field collection with an odds of profit of 5%, an unboxing ROI of 91%, and an expected value of 96 cents, so a 64 cents loss. Yikes! The best item is the M41S Fade at $526. Next up are the Small Arms Charms with an odds of profit of 14%, an unboxing ROI of 84%, and an expected value of $1.01, so a 39 cents loss. The best item is the Baby Karate Tee at $33.70. And finally, the best collection in the whole game is the Elemental Craft collection with an odds of profit of 24%, an unboxing ROI of 105%, and an expected value of 42 cents, so a 2 cents gain. The best item is the Ruby Wave at $10.36. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in just a few days.